Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So today's going to be a continuation of a previous episode where we took apart an NES cartridge to put together an emulator using a Raspberry Pi Zero as the processor. So definitely go and check that out before you continue if you haven't seen it yet. But let's just dive right back into that project and see how it all turned out. So what we're going to do first and foremost is we're going to take our three main outputs here, which are going to be the power, the HDMI, and the controllers. And we're going to line them up on the edge, like that basically. And the other two right here. So what we have to do is file down this lip here. And we'll also have to take out a bit of it here, I think, for it to fit that edge. I mean, you just keep going until it fits. I like to have this bit that's left, maybe on the other side, go in between these USB, right behind these USB ports here, and it helps to hold it in. And then on these you can use this ridge here to hold it, and this one usually just holds because the other two are squeezed in. Okay, so a Dremel would be good to take this out, but I'm gonna just file it by hand here, and we'll be back with you. Alright, so I started to file down the area for the USB hub. I just want to mention this problem. I haven't seen this addressed in the other videos on how to make these. And that is that, you see what I did? I filed down the bottom part. The top part just slots in behind the USB connections, like I said. However, when you do that, you can see how high it sits. So if I try to plug in a controller, I mean, I could do it, but this lip of the cartridge gets in the way. So what I did for the last one was I just basically put a little bit of wood to space it out on the top and to basically push this down. And you can see it's a bit loose in there right now. And that helps to kind of lock it in there as well. So right now I haven't modified the top at all, and this is just sitting in about a millimeter thick channel, or a channel with a millimeter left. And then this is where the top is going in. And what I did last time was I put a little splint, a little piece of wood right through here. That was also about a millimeter. Alright, so here's the little splint I made. You can see it sitting in there. So let's see if that's going to work out. Okay, yeah, that already looks a lot better. It's very firm in there. Closed down all the way, it's not bulging out or anything. So try controller. Perfect. The great thing about using these Amazon hubs is that they are pretty much a perfect fit. Like I said, if you use the little ridge in the card to line up with the back of the USB ports, because that's in completely, and since it's locked in by that ridge, when I pull it out, it doesn't pull the USB hub out. And so the alternative to all of this is to just glue it in place or tape it in place like you see in the other videos, but you can make it without any glue. Alright, so I pretty much got it finished up. You can see what it looks like. I still need to adjust a little bit here so it's not crooked. If you don't like the wood being in there, I guess you could use a piece of plastic or something. But I think that looks alright. So, just checking all of these. The pie's not in there right now. So I actually need to flip my power plug upside down in there. I'm also checking if I can move the connection in and out at all, and that's very solid there because of that ridge. Doesn't pull out. And the controller, there you go. Perfect. So I like how from like this top view you really don't see anything. And so there's the whole system basically. And so the pie will go right here. Let's see, this one needs to be flipped upside down. And it seems like a lot of cables and stuff, but it does fit. You can fit some of the hub cable underneath of it here. And kind of loop it around like this. The pie will be right here effectively. And yeah, so the only other thing that you need to take out is this little pin here. You might need to take this one out if things don't fit. I've seen some people who take the center post out and then they don't have anything to screw the middle one on, and they just leave that, you know, whatever. And the other mod I made is that I carved a channel similar to the one that's on the power USB converter here. Made a similar one on the HDMI so that they lock into this groove here, and that's what keeps them in place. That. So there you go. Alright, so I got it pretty much positioned how I want it with the pie in there. So I took out the little post that was right here off center, and then the small one that's like this, that's under here, I just filed down a little bit and the pie is sitting on top of that. The other point you need to make sure is clear is this hole and this hole, because they're going to line up with this. And this one doesn't actually need that top one because it's not a 5-point, but it still needs to be clear. So you can see the bottom side is just about a 1mm lip running the whole side, and this top side has this untouched where the hub is going, and these two ground and this area ground down to 1mm as well. And so the center post, which is this spot here, does need to be a bit clear, and I filed it down kind of in this direction and in this direction, and it goes between the power supply and the hub. This I'm going to probably just bend like that. I don't want to do it now because, again, this contact's very fragile. That's it. All that's left is to test it out, and it's good to go. Alright, so this is what you'll see when you first turn on your Raspberry Pi with the RetroPie OS loaded on there. And it'll go through some other screens. I've already loaded this one up before. It'll go several steps, and actually that previous screen with the code, if there's any issues with the system, that's where you'll see it. So I was just doing a reset. It's important not to do hard shutdowns, hard resets, so unplugging it from the wall on these, because that could corrupt the micro SD memory. So it was made by Emulation Station. And let's see, there's not going to be anything loaded on here. So 13 games. You know, that's not really anything. I don't know what that 13 is all about. But here you can see all the menu items here. All sorts of configurations for the RetroArch. You can play online. All the setup stuff. Connect Wi-Fi. So initially when you load this, you'll go through a configuration for your controller, and it's very intuitive. So here it is right here. It recognizes what it is automatically, and this is that iBuffalo SNES reproduction I showed you guys before. You just do what it tells you. And then for all of these down here, for more modern, complex controllers, you just hold any button to skip it. So what you want to do next is get a USB flash drive and make a folder on it called RetroPie, all one word. You just make it lowercase. And that's all you need to do, is just make that folder on there, nothing else. Then go ahead and take that USB flash drive and plug it into the USB inputs on your system. So one of the 2 remaining USB slots. And what will happen is that this RetroPie software will automatically load up all of the subfolders within that RetroPie folder for the BIOS and for the ROMs. Okay, and then in the ROMs folder you'll see all of the systems that it supports, and you can drop your ROMs in there. Once you do that, take that flash drive from your computer and put it back. I just did that. And if you have a USB flash drive with a light on it, you can see when it stops working. Usually takes a minute or 2. Otherwise, you can just wait 2 minutes. If you have a very large number of games and ROMs, then it might take a little bit longer. But usually it's pretty quick. Okay, that should probably do it. Let's take out the USB flash drive. If you keep the flash drive in there when you reset, I think it might try to boot from it, but I'm not quite positive on that. So now we need to do a reset, so we want start to get to the menu, and then we go to quit, and then restart system. Ask you really restart? Yes. Alright, so there's the little Raspberry Pi symbol, and if you restart and you find that not all the games have loaded as you expected, what happened was that you just didn't keep your USB flash drive in there for long enough. So larger size ROMs will obviously transfer faster, so things like NES games will transfer really quickly, but arcade games, so Mama games, or PS1 or N64 games will take a while. So in 2 minutes, you'll probably be able to transfer, I don't know, a couple hundred Mame games. And if you want to transfer the entire US Mame library, that'll take you a better part of half an hour. Especially with an older flash drive and SD card. So the only thing that I didn't go over is how to load the RetroPie onto your micro SD card. Again, there's lots of other videos on YouTube I encourage you to check out. But quickly, all you do is download the RetroPie, format your micro SD card on your computer, and use write disk to write the RetroPie OS onto the SD card, and then put the SD card back into the Raspberry Pi. That's it. And you're pretty much right where we are. Okay, so now you can see MAME, NES, and SNES. Okay, so I loaded these ROMs straight from my computer, so they probably actually have my saved games on here already. And with ROMs you can also save states, which is kind of like cheating, but you can save like a regular game would. So there's Virtual Bart. So man, tons of classic games. And my top 3 favorite games of all time are on the Super Nintendo, probably because that's what I grew up with. Star Wars, classic, very difficult games. Mario. But my top 3 are Super Mario World, which we just passed, Metroid, Super Metroid, and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Oh, jeez. So let's check that out. If it has my save game. So here you can go into configure screen, and if you want to play MAME games, you will need a keyboard to configure basically the function to insert the coin into the arcade machine. And you will not be able to play MAME games with just the iBuffalo SNES reproduction controller. Oh man, it takes me back. Oh yeah, so there's my game. Right before Ganon. All the items. Let's see, and what am I missing? Just I think a couple quarters of the hard pieces. Yeah, to get the last. Man, it's been a while since I actually played this. You can get a hit in before he even starts talking here. I'm just gonna do terribly, I'm sure. The easiest way to do this actually is with the cloak. Or I'm sure there's other ways. Anyway, so there you go. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If I can't help you, maybe somebody else can. Otherwise, enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one.